Evening Rockers. Vegas Rock Goddess here on the Rocks. Total entertainment. Coming to you live from somewhere off the Las Vegas Strip. Today, I am interviewing an amazing band from Vancouver, Canada, Midnight Vice. This was recommended to me by the one, the only Mr. Dave Tedder. So we're going to talk to them and get the information on this band and what's happening. So stay tuned. Let's let them in. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, yeah, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to On the Rocks.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love your music, dude. I've been
Thank
listening.
you
I've
so
been,
much.
yeah, I've been listening to it for the past hour or so. I mean, you've got great songs like Spellcaster, Strike in the Night. I mean, these tunes are killer, dude.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we try to keep it as old school as possible.
Oh my gosh, totally old school, dude. I mean,
It's the
you had
spirit.
me at Spellcaster. I just want to let you know.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, Dave Tedder put us together. Uh,
hmm
he's a great friend. And why don't you fill in the viewers a little bit about your band? Now, you're from Canada, correct?
No, we're actually based in Florida, so we're here in the
Okay.
United States.
Okay. Very
Uh,
okay.
yeah, we
So,
started. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So go ahead and fill in the viewers on like how you guys started, where you're at right now.
So Lakota and I pretty much started Midnight Vice around 2020-ish, and we had a couple different members, and that was like the first rendition of Midnight Vice. And we were all just kids that were kind of playing in the garage and stuff. And then we cycled out a couple other members, and that was when we got Sam and Dennis in the band. And from that point is kind of where we started trying to take things to the next level. We kind of wanted to play actual venues instead of playing open mic nights and stuff like that. And I think we started taking the songwriting a little bit more seriously too at that point. And then in 2022 was when or 2023 was when we released our debut EP, and it's been a crazy ride ever since then. So things have been going super well. We got some pretty insane feedback from the EP. We didn't think that it was going to reach the international attention that it did, which was just mind blowing to us. And, people from other countries were listening to our music. And that's just a crazy feeling, because we've always kind of had that like local band mindset. So we're not really thinking about anything else outside of our local circuit. We're just thinking about, being impressive to our peers
Right.
and the people that are here locally. And we didn't ever foresee something like just the amount of attention that we ended up getting. So it's been pretty crazy, and we're super grateful for that.
Yeah. So how now are you guys gonna do a full record? What's going on with that?
Yeah. So after we released the EP, we got an offer from Raining Phoenix Music. So we have a record deal with them, and they were kind enough to do a physical release of our EP for us, and we're doing an album with them. So we are going into the studio to record our full length album here this month.
Okay.
So we're doing it. We're going to be recording at Morris Sound, which is the best that Florida has to offer, and we're really excited for that. A lot of bands that we look up to have recorded there, so it's going to be better than the EP. I think the songwriting for the album is going to be a lot more intricate, and I think that the recording process is going to be a lot more thorough.
Oh, very good. So are we looking forward to hearing that in 26 then?
That's what we're shooting for. We're hoping
Yeah.
we're gonna see how this studio time plays out. We started tracking for the album earlier this year, and the studio that we were working with didn't. It kind of fell through a little bit, so we kind of have to start over. So we're starting over here in August, and we're gonna get it right this time.
Very cool. Very cool. So, how is the writing process for you guys? Is there one particular member that writes, or are you all collectively contributing?
I think that everybody collectively contributes. It usually starts off with Sam. Sam's the primary composer of all of our music, and I do all of the melodies and the lyrics and stuff. But everything is pretty open-ended. We're not like Sam's not super. He doesn't intrude on other people's writing process, so it'll kind of just he'll write out the basic structure of a song, so we'll have a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, solo, bridge, all of that good stuff. Sam will compose all of that, and then from there it gets submitted. We've just got a little group chat over text that we all communicate through. So he'll send it in there, and we'll just kind of say, hey, let's bring this in on practice day, and we'll all go over it. And then from there, I think everybody in Midnight Vice is good enough to write their own stuff. So Sam doesn't necessarily have to do that for other people. So they kind of have their own creative outlet there, and they can just do whatever they want with it. And usually it works out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. Now, are you guys playing local gigs on a local level down there?
We were for a while. We've kind of stopped doing that. We're not a touring band. We don't really tour. We've gotten out of state a couple times, but other than that, we stay local and we're waiting, and we pretty much just wait around for like a touring act to come through Florida, and that's really the only time that we ever get out. We're not really on the local bills anymore. So if somebody comes to town and it's, a super solid band or a band that we're really good friends with that's on tour, those are kind of the bands that we're playing with. So Anvil just came through here. We played with them. Void was another one that we play with. Bands like that, just bands that aren't necessarily from here.
Okay. So mainly big touring bands then you guys are opening for.
Yeah, we're kind of the opening act for all the big touring bands that come through here.
Now, is that at a local bar or is that at the House of Blues? Where are you guys doing all that at?
It kind of depends. Sometimes it's at a pretty reputable venue. We have our venues that we frequent. So Conduit in Orlando is one of them. Brass Mug in Tampa, which is a little bit lower on the totem pole, is one that we've played pretty frequently. But that's also a venue that does, obtain a lot of touring bands. Um, Crowbar in Ybor City in Tampa is also a great venue. Um, the big venue that we have here is probably Janus in St. Petersburg, and that's kind of the big boy venue. And we're actually going to be playing there at the end of the year with George Lynch. So
Oh,
and we've never played there before, so that'll be our first like big boy venue, I
well,
think.
okay. Since we're on that subject, let's talk about some of the dates that you guys already have booked.
Oh yeah, with George.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sam just recently got picked up by XYZ. So he's playing guitar for XYZ now, and he also plays guitar with George Lynch whenever he comes to Florida. And because of that, I got lucky, and I was asked to perform some Dokken songs with George Lynch, and that's coming up here in next week, actually. So
Oh,
I'm super excited for that, and I had the opportunity to do it once, and it was amazing. So I'm super hyped to do it again.
yeah. I covered George Lynch a few times
Yeah.
in Vegas, and he is not only an amazing guitar player, but he's an amazing front man
hmm
um, for his own band.
Yeah, he has that like that charisma that you would get from a front man. He has that as a guitar player, which is
Yeah.
like super important. And I think that's one of the reasons that he is like just one of the best guitar players ever.
Yeah, I know that Andrew Freeman was singing for him for quite a while.
Mhm.
I don't know on this new tour if he's going to be doing that with George or not. I haven't seen the press release, so um,
Yeah, I mean, the last time, I mean, we played with George back in March, and it was the Lynch Mob like final tour, and I think now he's got his own thing going on. So it's like George Lynch and the Mob, and if I from what I read, it seems like he kind of has different musicians in different areas that he works with. So I
right.
don't think that there is like a consistent lineup for him at
Yeah,
this point.
like I said, Andrew Freeman and him are friends. So
Mhm.
he's going to pop up at a lot of those shows. And I know Jakey Lee has been playing with George
Oh wow,
through those dates. So don't be surprised if Jakey Lee shows up as well.
that's a pretty hefty duo right there.
I know. Yeah. Jakey Lee lives here in Vegas.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. So he's out at the clubs frequently, hanging out and stuff. He's super cool guy.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So you have that going on. So is there anything before, like after that, or like you said, towards the end of the year too?
Yeah, we're doing another run with George and XYZ at the end of the year. That one that will be like a tour, so we're going to be kind of climbing up the East Coast a little bit. But other than that, that's kind of all that we have going on. I mean, we really took this second half of the year off to just like really dial in and get this album fully tracked because we told ourselves that we were going to have the tracking done, you know, around this time, and we're starting over now. So we kind of just wiped our schedule clean, and we
Yeah.
haven't put anything out in about 2 years now, aside from a single. And so we're kind of ready to start looking towards the next thing.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have a lot of material just waiting to get recorded.
Yeah, yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. So
Right.
we were getting booked so frequently, and we were playing out all the time, and it's crazy to me because I feel like when we released the EP, that doesn't feel like 2 years ago to me. That
No,
feels like
it's seriously, it doesn't even feel like it's 2 years ago.
it doesn't. It feels like I feel like I just put it out like 6 months ago, and then all of a sudden, like I realized I'm like, holy shit, this is already two
Yeah.
years old, and like we've just been playing out all over the place, and it just hasn't even crossed our minds. It's like, hey, we got to get in gear, and that's kind of our mindset now. So it's
Right.
time to kind of go in and
But you
and
guys
start.
are constantly writing, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
you had all that material, kind
Hmm.
of ready to go as
Hmm.
soon as you guys got the green light. So it's like, yeah, strike while the fire is hot, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of how we're all feeling now. We're like, okay, kind of haven't done anything for a while. It's time to
right.
start making
But
some moves.
you're going out with George Lynch, man, the
Yeah,
king,
yeah.
the king.
The
Okay,
king.
that guy. Let me tell you, he's because I do photography and I do video, and it. George is great to photograph because
Oh yeah.
he makes the weirdest faces when he plays.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen him up close.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I see it from, a rock journalist standpoint too. He's just so theatrical
Yeah,
when he plays, which is great. It comes off great on photo as well as video.
yeah.
Really enjoy seeing that because I mean, his fans are still rocking it, man. We're out there.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's a very passionate player,
Yeah.
and that's not something that you see too often.
And he's a blues guy too. He's got a lot of blues behind him. And
Hmm.
when he really gets into it, it's great to see a different side of him,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you know? And I think it adds a lot of dimension um to his craft and his legacy,
Hmm.
you know? Um and you guys are right there along with him, which is great.
Yeah, it's super flattering, honestly. And I mean, if you had told me 3 years ago that I was going to be playing with George Lynch, I would have been like, yeah, whatever, you know. It's
Right?
it's pretty insane
You
how
know,
far it's got.
dreams do come true, my friend.
I know, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, how is the let's talk a little bit about the music scene out there. How do you feel like the club scene, music scene? How is it out there?
I think we've got a pretty solid scene. Um, as far as metal, I think the scene's great. I don't necessarily think it's kind of ideal for the style of metal that we play, but you know, Florida is a very death metal centered state. Um, we're, they call it the capital of death metal for a reason. You know, that's where we got the Morbid Angel, the Obituary, the Death. You know, all of those infamous death metal bands. All of that derives from here, and so there's a big part of that culture that is still very prominent today. Um, and we had great traditional heavy metal bands too, like Sabotage and Crimson Glory. You know, we had bands like that too, but I don't think that there's as much of an appreciation for this more traditional style of metal as opposed to death metal. Um, but you know, we there's a lot of camaraderie with all of the bands here. You know, we are friends with a lot of the death metal bands, and we really dig all those dudes, and they really dig us too, which is like nuts because like when we were first getting started, I was afraid of like us kind of like being perceived the wrong way. And I remember like the first time, like when we first started, we were playing with like a lot of like kind of classic rock type bands because I didn't know if we were going to be okay playing with those death metal bands. You know, I was like, are they going to spit on us or what? You know, but they all like they love us. You know, and I think that we have our own individuality in the scene, and I think that they recognize that, and I think that they appreciate that. Um, so I really like our scene here. It's probably not the most insane place to try and blow your band up, you know, like LA or Nashville, like a lot of these other bands are doing, or even Texas. But I think it's a pretty good scene here. I like it, and I'm pretty proud of it. I have a lot of pride in coming from Florida. So,
Yeah, you've got some great bands out of Florida. Divided Truth is friends of mine. They're an amazing Florida band.
mhm.
Also, I mean, just great music, hard music coming out of Florida.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another band that like we're really good friends with is Antagonizer, and they're another band that's probably pretty much in the same vein as us, as that you know classic '80s heavy metal, and they're great too, and we love them, and they do really well as well.
Yeah, I mean, your sound right now is going to be the hottest sound in 25, 26. It's getting back old school, just like you said.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a massive resurgence in like this '80s like traditional sound, you know, and I would have never thought that I didn't know that there were bands that did stuff like this until I discovered other bands like Cauldron and Enforcer and Skullfist and all these other like younger bands that were doing the same
Right.
80s sound, you know. So I was like, oh shit, like people do this, like there's a market for this, you know. And like those were like I mean, all throughout high school, those were like my favorite bands. You know, I was listening to that more than I was listening to like the actual 80s shit, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Like I grew up listening to Sabotage, Exciter,
Hmm.
just, any of those, bands. And
Yeah, those are great bands too.
yeah, and back then those were kind of underground bands.
Hmm.
They weren't really mainstream, but see all that stuff now is coming back.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like
I think
Avenged.
a lot of bands like that probably would have done better had the internet been around back then. You know, I feel like a lot of kids these
Right?
days are digging these bands up, and they're like, "Holy shit, this band was awesome!" You know, but now they're kind of being provided with the exposure, you know, through the internet that they weren't getting because they weren't signed to a big record label or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of look back at that time in rock history because there was a lot of footprints being put down. And,
Hmm.
then of course grunge came along and
Yeah.
kind of put that this way. And now
Yeah.
it's kind of coming forward again,
Mhm.
which is great. And, it's kind of getting a resurgence. A lot of these bands are coming out of retirement, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
just just to get that last leg in,
Hmm.
of their history.
Yeah.
Bill being one of them.
Hmm.
And I heard they're doing well out on the road.
Yeah. They're doing super well. I mean, they've passed through here like twice in the last 2 years, and we played with them both times. So they're moving around. They're keeping busy,
Yeah,
and especially like with these festivals too, like Hell's Heroes and Keep It True. I mean, those festivals have literally brought bands back from like the dead for
yes,
like a special reunion for like an exclusive set, stuff like that. And it's like it's just really cool to see.
yeah. Because even in Vegas, being a rock journalist, I cover a lot of stuff here in Vegas. But you know, we're sick of cover bands. I
Right.
don't know how it is where you are, but I'm a fan too. Not only a rock journalist, but I've been a fan for decades.
Mhm.
Of rock and metal. And tribute band, there's a difference. I mean, I had a conversation with another musician on another show, but
Mhm.
there's a difference between a tribute band and a cover band.
Right.
How many times can you listen to Paradise City done 360 different ways?
Right.
You know, I mean, we love it. I know it's a paycheck and we get it. But again, there's a fine line.
Hmm.
We want
Absolutely.
to hear raw, original material. And that's what fans are craving. And that's why you guys are hitting the pulse,
Hmm.
what people want to hear.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's a big thing in Florida here too. A lot of these venues don't want to hear original music. They want to hear 3 hours worth of covers. So that's why the venues around here are pretty slim pickings. It's not the worst thing in the world because a lot of those places that the cover bands are performing at, they're kind of like bar and grills and stuff like that, which has
Right,
never really been. I like going into a venue and everybody that is in the venue is there specifically to see the music. It's not like playing at a bar and grill and you're just performing for people that happen to be there for
right.
a couple of drinks or getting dinner that night. I would take a venue over that all day long.
Yeah.
And I think any musician would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I go to see a band and it's an original band,
Hmm.
I'm gonna, they throw in a couple covers here and there. That's totally acceptable.
Oh
But
yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
coming from a fan standpoint, like I said, I don't want to hear 80 million versions of "You Give Love a Bad Name."
for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? I mean, we're here to hear original music, and this is your band is what's keeping rock alive right now. You have to get that pulse going with your fans, and they
Oh,
want to hear brand new, ear crunching
mhm.
original songs.
That's absolutely what we strive for. We try to be organic with it and kind of do it our own way and try not to rip other people off too much. But
Well, yeah, I mean, you're paying tribute to
sometimes it just happens on accident. There's nothing we can do. You know what I mean?
right,
We're we're
right.
we're, we're chasing a sound that's like 30 fucking years old.
Yeah,
So
but you know what though? It doesn't sound like it's 30 years old, dude. Seriously.
right.
And again, that sound is what people want to hear because that was
Yeah.
the best time in rock and roll in metal
Mhm.
was the 80s. Between 79 and 86 was
Mhm.
some of the most prolific bands hitting the road at
Oh
that
yeah.
time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we had radio back then. I don't consider Sirius radio. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we had real radio stations, real DJs playing songs continuously.
Right.
You know, we don't have AI just doing a loop all day long.
Right.
You know, I mean, that really is sad that the DJ and the radio station have gone away. But I do have to say there are some Florida radio stations that have killer programming. So you still have a few out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's some good radio out there, but yeah, I mean the music industry as a whole now is just entirely different. You know, we don't the radio DJs is gone, MTV is gone, record labels are pretty much the initial concept of record labels is gone. You know, it's not it's musicians are pretty much set up for failure right from the get-go in today's day and age, and a lot of the bands that are successful nowadays are either bands that have the legacy to do so, or whoever else is just being these younger bands and musicians that are just being pumped out by fucking Hollywood or whatever.
Yeah, and that's not happening, dude. They're not signing bands to 2 album deals in the men's restroom at the Rainbow.
Right. Yeah. That's a thing in the past.
Yeah,
There is no performing out on the Sunset Strip and some
yeah,
fucking fatso with a big old cigar comes up and offers you, like, that doesn't
right.
happen anymore.
I mean, that was the 80s, dude. They were signing bands every 10 minutes.
Right.
We're just waiting for the bands to get off stage and they'll shove a contract in their face. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
those days are gone.
Absolutely.
The great part about that is you're in charge of your own music, you're in charge of your merch, you're getting 100%, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, of the creative control, where you're not giving Big Brother any control
Right.
of your music. So I mean, there's good and bad points on
For
it.
sure. Absolutely. There is definitely more of like a DIY aspect to it nowadays. And like that was what we were doing. We kind of we wanted to be an independent band, and we were going to run our own game. We were going to do our own CDs, our own vinyls, and our own all this and that. And with Raining Phoenix, when we signed the deal with Raining Phoenix, I mean they gave us such a good deal that it was like, okay, this actually makes sense. We get to retain the rights to our music, and it's essentially kind of a distribution deal where they're
Right.
making CDs for us, they're making vinyls for us, and they're doing promotion, and
Yeah.
so like I mean they're an ally through and
Right.
through all the way 100%. We can't lose.
Exactly. And that's the great thing about your deal, because you're in it and you have complete control. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which, let me tell you, is rare uh
Right.
in these days. But again, we're looking at 20, 30 years forward now, and things are different, and moving forward, you guys are in the pulse of it, which
Yeah.
is great. And I look forward to a follow-up interview in 26 from you guys, and see where you're at. Hopefully, full album. We'll talk about it next year,
Absolutely. That sounds awesome.
and hopefully, you'll get through Vegas.
Yeah, one of these days, I'm hoping.
Yeah,
That sounds great.
I'm gonna bug Dave Tedder about it.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, because he's out there in Vegas too.
No, I know he's crazy, but
He is. He is.
anyway, thanks so much, Tyler, for coming on.
Absolutely.
Really look forward to the future of this band, and can't wait to hear some reports about the George Lynch shows.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and hopefully next year we can get the whole band on.
I can do that. I will arrange that.
Yeah, no worries. You take care, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. You too. Thank you.
Bye bye. Midnight Vice. This is a great young band, hungry for some metal, and we just love that here at On the Rocks. This is Carol Nevin, On the Rocks, Total Entertainment. Always like and subscribe to On the Rocks, because you never know who I'll be interviewing next. And see you in September.